This guy. That guy. This segment of Pigskin Holiday is brought to you by Ed's Water Heater, because it's hotter than Satan's balls. And now...
But your hands are clean.
They are very clean because they're singed off. They're singed the fuck off. All right. Now, you know, we normally call this segment the hot seat. And it would be really fitting, especially considering I have no fingertips left. But tonight, we're going to take a different road. We're going to take the high road, the classy road. And this segment is now going to be known as, for tonight only, CT's Super Happy Fun Time. Alright. Now, we have the pisses me off segment. And, you know, that's all well and good. We're great ranters. Don't get me wrong, I love it, and we're going to go on one in a little while. But I kind of want to take a different route tonight on my segment. I want to talk about the stuff that kind of brings joy to my heart in the NFL. So, you know, it kind of gives me that warm and fuzzy feeling like in this
nice little change of pace.
Anyway, of course, I'm going to start this off with New England. Alright?
Why wouldn't you?
Exactly! Why wouldn't I? I mean, obviously they're my team, and then for two, they're just fucking beast.
Right.
I mean, they have...
Winning.
They are winning, but I mean, they take their losses hard. They take them to heart, and they just beat the shit out of people for a couple games, at least.
As you should.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
They're like, no except, we're going to win now. It's time to kick it up a notch. Especially whenever they lose to teams that they shouldn't be losing to. You know, like Buffalo and the Giants. They're perfectly capable of beating them. They've done it forever, but then they managed not to do it this season. They say no except. And then they turn it around. I mean, Brady is by far the most calculating quarterback that there is right now. I mean, you can argue that, but you'd be wrong. I mean, I'm not saying he's the greatest because him and Rodgers are right on par right now, in my opinion. But Brady is far more calculating. And I mean, he made rookie tight ends star receivers.
Yeah.
2 years running now. So...
I have a question.
Okay.
Just real quick.
Okay.
Obviously, during the game, as we've seen in recent weeks, you don't give Tom Brady a minute, minute and a half at the end of a quarter or a half or a game.
No.
He'll burn you.
He will.
With that being said, why don't they run more of a 2-minute offense?
You know, that's really a good question. And, you know, I mean, they pull it off a lot in those whenever they're down by a touchdown or they're down by 2 touchdowns even. And they'll pull it back around in like 3 minutes. They'll get that touchdown, then they'll get that onside kick returned to them, and then they'll get another touchdown.
You know what
That's
happens?
not uncommon for them.
They'll be down like 10-0 to Philly, and they'll score a touchdown, bring it close, and the defense will go, okay, you guys did it, now we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Get you the ball back, or we'll score one for you. You know,
That's something I really love about that team.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I've liked them. I liked them originally because that's where my mom's side of the family is from, and I freaking didn't like the Rams at all at this point in time. And they're back on that list, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, that's what originally drew me to the Patriots, and then they started doing this whole deal where, just like you said, they like feed off of each other. You know, if one side of the ball does good, the other side's like, all right, look what they just did.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then they do it. They don't do like most other teams do. They're like, hey, let's do it. And then they falter. More often than not, whenever they say, let's do it, they do it. And that's why they've gotten so good in the past, you know, like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
That's why they are like ranked up there as, you know, people talk about great football teams. You know, they, of course, they talk about Dallas for their past and the fact that they've been America's team forever, which Dallas will be talked about here in a little bit.
But
and then,
God still has that hole in the roof to watch his team play. So.
Right, and then you know, there's New England's up there, and then there's a few other teams that are up there, but always think of New England whenever you think of a good, well-rounded football team.
True.
And more they keep proving it. And, you know, they keep getting younger people in there, and they keep getting stars made out of them.
Well, they use the tight ends, and I love that the most.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Good stuff.
As an old school Cowboy fan, like I've always said, I love to watch a team do, and when you do, you're more successful. The tight end is a lost art in the NFL now.
It is. It is.
I mean, it's a wasted thing, and if you can utilize it, you open up so much opportunity on your offense. You know, so. Go
Now,
New England.
absolutely. Thank you. Now, on the other hand, is my second favorite team, Baltimore. You know, they've had a few losses that they shouldn't have had, but on the other hand, they've won some games where they were down and then they've come back and they've won, or they've held a lead where a lot of teams this year have not held that lead against the teams that they have held the leads against. And, I mean, they just did something, you know, that only one other team has done this year, and that's beat the 49ers. And no matter how you look at it, no matter what the score is, the fact of the matter is they beat the second best team record-wise in the NFL.
Right.
Period. I mean, that's great, no matter how you look at it. So
it's a defense that's stacked with, I mean, it's a whole entire team that's stacked with all-stars. You know what I mean? Bodie Nada, Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis, Ray Rice, Anquan Bolden. I mean, you just keep going. It's ridiculous.
Flacco's emerging.
Flacco has the ability to be Brady-esque.
Flacco's awesome.
He can engineer those drives.
You know that guy's like 6'6"?
But sometimes the
He's
receivers
tall.
don't catch up to his talent.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Very true.
If they got him another couple of really good receivers, that team would be a force. They're already a force, obviously by their record. Because they're what, 7-3 right now?
They won a game without Ray Lewis.
8-3.
They're 8-3.
Yeah.
They won a game without Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
They still had Suggs though.
And
that's something that we're going to touch on in your segment as far as my holy shit goes, is the Baltimore side. But, I mean, that's just really good stuff that Baltimore's been doing. They're on a roll. You know, anytime they get derailed, they've kind of been pulling that Patriots mentality out. But they've been taking the losses hard, and they've not lost 2 in a row so far.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
They're like, all right, we just lost. And, like, especially, they just lost to Seattle recently. Seattle?
Yeah.
I mean, really? And they're just like, all right, boys, let's get it together. And then they did. So, props to them. Props to 2.
Yeah.
Props
All
to
right.
2.
Yeah.
I like that.
Now, I'm also happy with your man, Tim Tebow. He's been playing football his way. He's been doing what he wants to do, and they've been letting him do what he wants to do, and that's been winning him games. Now, we all know that will not last just because of the way that it's played. The defenses will adjust to that eventually. If not this season, it will definitely be next season. They adjust, and they're just like, all right, we're going for him every play.
But the same time that is spent allowing defenses to adjust to them, that same time is also spent allowing Tebow to get better as a quarterback.
Right.
An NFL quarterback.
But
you know,
not to start the naysaying of Tebow while I'm trying to praise him at the same time, though. But a lot of people are questioning the fact: can he evolve?
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
can he move from doing what he's doing to doing what a traditional quarterback would do?
Well, here's why he can. Because first of all, to allow the time for defenses to start understanding how to beat that, he's given the team reason to expect to win, believe they can win, and have that winning attitude, and that's what makes the team pull off the victories they've been pulling off.
Yeah.
The defense keeps them close, and Tebow brings it home.
Right.
That's just been the formula this year.
That's true.
I mean, so let's just take other teams that are not winning and not competing and have no chemistry, and compare that to the Broncos.
Right.
They're 5-1 under Tebow, if I'm not mistaken. 5-1 under Tebow.
Yeah. 4-1, 5-1, something like that.
And they're not gaudy numbers. They're not a lot of points scored.
No.
But they're guts out
They're
victories.
wins.
So the thing is that there's two ways to buy time for Tebow to become to evolve. The better quarterback. A, your defense maintains their strong play.
Mm-hmm.
B, you keep winning and gaining confidence. In the meantime, that buys Tebow more time to evolve into an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think it's a winning formula. Is it a Super Bowl in the next year or two? Probably not. But competitive playoff team, definitely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue that. That's very good points that you just made. And, you know, I'm one of them who was like with you in the fact that I think that he can evolve. It's just a matter of how quick can he do it. Is it going to be quick enough to where it doesn't hurt them in the short term? Because we know that he will evolve to a point of where he's good as a well-rounded quarterback. He's got that talent, he's got that mentality, he's got that leadership. He's brought this team back to a point of where they are competing and trying and doing everything that they want to do. But at the same time, he's relying heavily on that run. And a lot of people are like, okay, he's not going to get out of that running habit quick enough. Which may or may not be true. It's just a matter of how quick will he make that next transitional step.
Right.
I just think that it's something like that comes natural to him. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I don't see anybody to throw to. I'm gonna at least get something. You know what I mean? And so he's gonna run it.
Yeah, but I saw him do that and then pull up and throw the ball.
Right.
I mean, he's starting to find that middle ground.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I hope that he finds it sooner rather than later, so that this team will make that flip and start doing the stuff that you would be expecting that team to do. And that would be good for not only him to shut up the people who've been pissing me off for the last 3 weeks, the naysayers, but also it'll give the team a mentality of, we can win this. And they'll be a competitive force.
The
like Ed was
Broncos,
saying.
the Broncos were already left for dead. We already gave up their season.
Good game, left for dead.
They're 6-5, one game behind Oakland. So it's a whole new ballgame.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're in it to win it.
Oakland's definitely a team that they can catch up to.
I mean,
Very, very obtainable for
it's
them.
my favorite story of the year is the Tim Tebow situation,
Yeah.
which we keyed on
We
in
did.
the first
We
weeks of
did.
the show.
Yep.
We did.
So I mean, I couldn't be
We got,
happier
like,
as far
ESPN.
as watching this guy play quarterback the way he does. It's just he's not. You can't compare him really to anybody.
Yeah. It's true.
No?
Very true.
He's a left-handed shotgun quarterback from college with a college background. I mean, you know, like Jen loves the lefties. She wishes Aaron Rodgers was a lefty. She called his mom last week and said, "Why didn't you sleep on your left side more?" Like it matters. But
No, exactly. Now, my third favorite team, who's also making me really happy, is Houston. The Houston Texans. They have had their top wide receiver hurt. They've had their top running back hurt. They've had their second great running back hurt. Their quarterback is out. Their second string quarterback is out, yet they are still winning.
Winning.
One game.
Well, still though. But I'm just saying though, that they are rallying. They're not letting...
No, you're right.
They're not letting adversity keep them down. They're playing on. And their defense is by leaps and bounds. Like, here's a great one. Here's where they are in comparison of where they were last year, which is way down here. Because I was, at the beginning of the year, I was saying how bad that I hated the situation in Houston because their offense is so high-powered, but their defense was so bad. And they were so bad last year. They completely flipped that around, and right now, if I'm not mistaken, aren't they the top-ranked defense?
They were last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So either which way, they're in the top 2 or 3, no matter how you look at it.
The highest net points in the league in the
Right.
AFC.
They do.
It's,
In the AFC, I mean.
that's
114.
crazy, though, how they turned around their worst part of their team, how they've turned that around into possibly their better half. Which is crazy to say, considering how high-powered of an offense they got with Tate and Foster and Johnson, and then they had Schaub up until here recently.
Right. Owen Daniels.
Right.
Yeah.
They've got great players on all fronts on offense, yet their defense is winning them the games. So that's great stuff. I'm very impressed with how they've been playing this year. And, you know, their losses, just like we've been talking about the past couple of teams, they've taken it to heart. They've not let it keep them down. They've not lost 2 in a row. They've went back and they've won. They've went on at least a 2-game winning streak after each loss, and it's been really good for them.
And it's interesting because I've been hearing a lot on the radio and ESPN talk, especially earlier in the preseason and then midway, now, right about now, that this is kind of a make or break season for Gary Kubiak, like the head coach for Houston. So I mean, it's kind of it's kind of nice to see them, I guess, not really buckling under the pressure, but like rising to the occasion, you know what I mean? It's like,
right.
No, we're not going to have our head coach get out of here. We're not going to do this. We're not going to just lay down. We're going to take this division. We're going to do what we've been, built to do.
But yet this guy in Houston,
yeah,
Kubiak, is on the firing line.
Right. Yeah.
Seriously?
How is that possible?
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That is retarded. He's helped turn who was statistically ranked one
And
of the
Jeff
worst
Fisher got
defenses
fired last
year.
into
Fisher
statistically
got
ranked
fired
one
last
of the top defenses, and he's kept consistently now, for the 3rd year in a row, a top-notch offense going. How could you be even considering putting him on a chopping block?
Right.
That's a rant that we could go on for a little while, but we'll save that for another time.
What about Steve Spagnuolo, Norv Turner? Let's just start with those two.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And there's other coaches, especially right at this very moment, who are much, much more qualified to be on a chopping block than that guy.
If we're gonna go that route, let's praise a coach. Let's praise 2 coaches. First of all, in Indianapolis, I know they haven't won a game. I know it's like a bad deal, but I don't know. It's not his fault that they never put a quarterback behind Peyton Manning.
No, it's
They still compete.
Yeah.
They don't have a good talented quarterback, but they still compete. They don't go out there and give up.
It's the front office's fault for not bringing in somebody who could at least back up Peyton Manning in case he goes out. I mean, the guy's not a freaking Iron Man. The guy is eventually going to get... It's the NFL. The guy's eventually going to get hurt. There's going to be wear and tear on the body.
Right. He's getting older.
That happens.
His body can't hold up to the stuff it used to. It was an inevitability.
Like even Cal Ripken ended up missing a game eventually. You know what I mean? Like, so...
And then you got John Fox in Denver, who is handling this situation, the quarterback situation between Orton to Tebow, and making it work for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's
that one I will agree with. The first one I would not. But that's just my take on it.
Well,
I would definitely agree with the second one, though.
I'm not
for sure.
I'm not far off from what you're saying. I can see that little bridge.
You're about one step over the line.
It's a small bridge. I accept that. But I think, they haven't given up.
I'll give you that. They have not completely given up.
Some other team we can't talk about.
Right.
And that's funny to say.
Why is he not on the line?
I don't understand.
This is the last thing I want to even touch on this subject, is that it's funny that you say that they're not as bad as the unspoken team, considering their records are different. But, at the same time, the competitive level that you've seen from said team, as opposed to the unsaid team, it's the scores as compared to the competition that they've had has been more evenly matched. I mean, like the Rams have been, they've been super inconsistent. They have won games that they never should have won, like against the Saints, and then they've lost games that they never should have lost, like against half of the people they've played.
Seattle,
yeah.
Well, they beat Cleveland.
But let's move on to the next team.
Let's do that.
Green Bay. They're making me really happy. I love them.
Jen is smiling big over there.
I know she is, and she should be. That's her team. Way above the list on mine. They're like 4th or 5th on my list. They're a #1 Duke of New York in her mind. So, but I mean, Aaron Rodgers is leading a phenomenal team. Bar none. They're on fire on both sides of the ball, even though their defense this year is faltering in comparison to last year and the year before. Their defense is still better than a lot of them. It's just we had such high expectations for them, based on their performances from last year and the year before, that they're not living up to that, but they're still doing good as a whole, obviously, because they're 10-0 right now. So they're doing great right now with the.
Well, what if they lost Rodgers? I mean,
Oh, we don't want to talk about that.
how does that change things in Green Bay?
We don't want to talk about that. At this point, it would be like how the Colts lost Manning. Maybe not quite to such an extent, but it would be just about to that extent.
Who's their backup?
Do you know? That guy.
That guy.
I mean, it's the exact same situation. And right now, you know, the Patriots are in the exact same situation right now.
But the Patriots had Kessel before.
Not
He came in.
necessarily because they got Ryan Mallett, and Ryan Mallett did all right
No,
in preseason.
Ryan Mallett fantastic. But
Yeah.
I'm saying they had Castle. He filled in for Brady when he went out. Did a fantastic job, and then they got rid of him.
Yeah.
What is the deal with these NFL teams? You need 2 solid quarterbacks.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. All the
I
time.
mean, you have to.
Yep.